Good morning, boys and girls. Welcome back. Yeah, Peter's a little tied up there, but we'll get to that in a second. I mean, I'm sure you're all going to untie Peter, but it's a little more fun to leave Peter tied up. If I see Peter's hands, I might know what Peter's gonna do, maybe. Anyways, boys and girls, I hope you had a great 4th of July. Peter and I didn't want to stop celebrating just yet. As you can notice, we still have our patriotic attire on. But we had a great time celebrating this week, going to a parade and seeing some fireworks and different things. I hope you were able to enjoy your 4th of July as well. Well, Peter, could you hold up the paper from last week for us? Oh, that was kind of mean, wasn't it, boys and girls? Peter can't because Peter's tied up. So Peter, why don't you just give me a hug real quick? Yeah, okay. I know, boys and girls. You're all like on Peter's side right now, and you're all hating on me. Good thing you're not here to like throw tomatoes or something. Yeah, let me help you out there, Peter. Let's get you untied so you can participate. Boys and girls, there we go. Do you remember what we talked about last week? Okay, we talked about freedom. Poor Peter here was not free. Okay, I tied him up. Now, boys and girls, I was not hurting Peter. It was not super tight. Okay. But Peter was tied up. He wasn't free. He couldn't help me out with things because he was still tied up. Last week, boys and girls, do you remember what we said Jesus freed us from? What is it that had us tied up? Yeah, sin had us tied up. Okay, now it doesn't physically tie us up like a rope does, but sin ties us up. So who was it, boys and girls, who frees us from sin? That's Jesus. Jesus frees us from sin. We talked about the 3 colors, and we talked about courage and purity and faithfulness. And Peter's got our ropes here to represent the different colors there. But boys and girls, I actually asked Peter to do 2 specific things when he was tied up, because they're kind of 2 examples for us. So the first thing I asked Peter to do was to help me out with something. I asked him to hold that up. Boys and girls, Peter and I do this because God's asked us to. Okay, we are obeying God. We are serving God by each week doing these videos. It's a step of obedience. We're serving Him. So I asked Peter to help me serve, but because Peter was tied up, Peter couldn't serve. Boys and girls, before I launch too far into that, I want to review what it said in John 8:34 and 36. Jesus answered them, "Verily, verily, I say unto you, whosoever committeth sin is the servant of sin." Boys and girls, sin ties us up. It keeps us as a servant. Verse 36, "If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed." You can be free of that rope, free of that bondage, boys and girls. Well, we're free from sin. And again, Romans 6:22 says, "But now being made free from sin and become servants of God." Boys and girls, don't think about being a servant of God as something that's bad. This is something we have an opportunity to do because we're free. Then in 1 Peter 2:16, there you go, Peter. 1 Peter 2:16 says, "As free, and not using your liberty for a cloak of maliciousness, but as the servants of God." Boys and girls, our freedom isn't something we go around and use irresponsibly, okay? We use the freedom from our sin that we have so that we can serve God. We're free from the sin, so now we can serve God. We can help others out at church. In Galatians 5, Galatians chapter 5, verses 13 and 14, say, "For brethren, ye have been called unto liberty," kind of another word for freedom, "only use not liberty for an occasion to the flesh, but by love serve one another." Okay, so boys and girls, we're free from sin because we're to become servants of God. Just like I had asked Peter to hold up the picture, not because I wanted to show that we are free from sin to serve. Okay, we're here to serve God, to do what God asks. The second thing we're free to do is to love one another, as we just read in Galatians 5:13. So we're freed from sin to love God and to serve to serve God. I flipped it. It doesn't matter. To serve God and to love one another. And boys and girls, so the second thing I had asked Peter for was a hug to show the love. But in 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse, it is known as the love chapter. Okay, love meaning, or the word here is charity, which means love. Boys and girls, you could read the whole chapter and read all about the different things it talks about love. We're just going to talk about a few. In verse 4, it says, charity suffereth long. The idea of is patient, okay, and is kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself, is not puffed up. Okay, some of those are words we don't commonly use. Okay, so let me just kind of summarize. It's patient. It's kind. It doesn't envy. Okay, it doesn't brag or boast. It isn't proud or rude or selfish. It doesn't get angry easily. When we're treating people with love, those are some of the characteristics or attributes that we should have. But boys and girls, we can talk about that, but how do we practically love someone? Well, we can simply say, I love you. Okay, that shows our love. But has anybody ever said, then show, there you go, Peter. Has anybody ever said, then show me? Okay, you tell your parents I love you, and they're like, well, show me by obeying. We can write encouraging notes. We can say encouraging things. We can build other people up instead of tearing them down. Another one is buying gifts. You can give somebody a gift to show that you love them. You don't always have to. You don't have to buy your friends, boys and girls, but giving gifts shows you love someone. Service. You can help them out with something. Sometimes your friends need help, and you can just show up and be that help to them and show them love. You can spend time with them. Boys and girls, your grandparents love it when you spend time with them. That shows them how much you love them. And then other things like hugs and just being gentle with people can show you, hi Peter, can show your love. So, boys and girls, we've talked about freedom with the 4th of July, and I hope you really did have a great week this past week. But the point Peter and I want to drive home to you is, boys and girls, even with our, drive, that's right. Even with our extra things we have on, boys and girls, is the fact that in Christ, we're free from sin. We don't have to be bound by sin. We don't have to let Satan rule us. And we're free to serve God, and we're free to love others. Boys and girls, you can serve God by helping out at church, by doing what God's asked you to do in His Word, by using your, nice, Peter, using your musical abilities for Him if you see trash on the floor at church. So many practical ways we can love one another and we can serve God. As you go about this next week, find a way you can love someone else and a way that you can serve God. See you next week.